because he is on the short-term IR. We have a 21-day window, and that we'll start that officially on Wednesday if everything continues to go in the right direction. He was cleared by the doctors and given the all good. So we just got to make sure once we get to Wednesday, we can go through that. That way we get the 21 days from that Wednesday.
How, given what he went through, what does it mean for you guys to be able to do this at this point?
Well, I think it's hopefully going to be a nice shot in the arm, kind of what we were, and hopefully we get what we were expecting to get. And that's, the other quality running back that we're looking for.
Nikki.
What does he add to the room, just with Gibson and McKissick? And do you know what you'll do in terms of Jonathan Williams?
Yeah, we have a plan. I mean, we most certainly do. We'll go through all that stuff once we get to that point. But our intention is to have those backs in that room ready to go, and we're gonna get going with those guys. It's kind of exciting.
And during this 3-week window, will there be any limitations on what he can do in practice?
Apparently not initially, and we'll see how he handles it. Again, we got to see how he reacts to his to contact, because we will have a padded practice on Wednesday. He'll get to bump around a little bit and see how he handles that, and then we'll go from there.
Paris.
Hey, Ron, what about Chase Young? Is his clock going to start too?
No, Chase is he's been doing very well. He's been trending in the right direction. Our big thing, more so than anything else, obviously, is we have to wait and see where he is after this week. But the doctors are optimistic. They've been, pretty promising as far as their reports. It's just that they feel he needs a little bit more time.
And then with Brian, do you have to be careful at all to manage expectations, or given everything he went through?
Yes, we do. We have to be smart about how we're going to handle him. And we got to handle those expectations. We also got to handle, what he's going to go through physically and mentally. I mean, it's a different set of circumstances. I don't know of any other player that I've coached that's had to go through this.
And then just one more, sorry. With Wentz, how can, you guys were able to establish the run yesterday, but what can Brian do for, I guess, kind of how can the run game work with the passing game, and what would you like to see from Wentz? Like, how could it kind of evolve?
Well, what I'd like to see is, is if we can continue to establish the run, it's going to help with the passing game, which is going to slow down the pass rush, which is going to open some things up. It's interesting because, obviously, I know I've said this before, figures lie and liars figure, but, when we started the season out and as we've done it, at one point, Carson with a clean pocket was leading the league. And it's just one of those things that we've got to be able to create that for him. And one of the ways to do it is to make sure we can establish the run early so that the play action sells it for him and helps him and helps our offensive line. If you can get the pass rushers going sideways, it slows it down a little bit. And anytime there's the dual threat of a run pass, it plays to our benefit. We've got to get to that. We've got to get better at that. And that was one of the things that we saw yesterday was it helped us. We had a couple opportunities and we screwed them up. We have to be better at it. We have to.
Pete.
Why did the establishment of the run game yesterday not pay off in more of positive plays from the pass game, do you think?
I think mostly because we created our own mistakes in terms of penalties. You get a couple of illegal procedures. You get a holding. You get a couple of grounding, and then you're backed up, Pete. And so what happens is instead of being in a good down and distance that is fair for you on third downs, you're in a tougher situation in terms of yards to gain. I mean, it's one thing to be able to throw it when it's 3rd and 7 or 2nd and 5, as opposed to being in 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 25. There's a huge difference as far as that's concerned because of the route you can run and how much time you have to hold the ball to let those routes develop.
And as far as right guard goes, is Sadiq the plan moving forward?
Yes, Sadiq will be the plan moving forward. I had a great conversation with Trey and the hardest part for Trey is he's just not right yet. I mean, he still has trouble with that leg, and it was one of the things that we looked at and considered. And so I sat Trey down today and we talked about the plan for him to get him, going in the right direction so that, when he's healthy, ready to roll, he can help us. It's one of those things that you've got to admit to yourself. And he's been great about it. We had a very good conversation, as I said. Sadiq will be the plan going forward. We'll continue to work with Trey and, continue to work him and get him ready to play just in case. In the meantime, we'll continue to try and develop that running game.
Is Trey's leg anything that would push him to short-term IR?
No, it's not. It's just now a matter of strengthening it so he can hold the point a little bit better, so he can move a little bit more fluid. It's it's one of those things. You rush a guy back, and that's on us, and we'll just make sure he's right.
Ben,
I don't think Ben's here.
Hey, Ron, I hope you can hear me okay.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Great, thank you.
No picture though.
If you want to see me, I'll turn it on. I'm just at the airport.
No, we're all right. Thank you. Oh, Ben.
Obviously, just in terms of the game itself, just curious what you saw on tape, particularly with the offensive line, Carson Wentz, and the pass protection.
Well, my biggest disappointment, was early on. We gave up a couple of plays, and then we settled in and got out for a while. But as soon as we got into the situation where you are going to have to throw the ball, they can pin their ears back and put a little bit more pressure. But in the interim, there was a nice stretch where I thought we were doing the things that we planned to. Again, we can't put ourselves in a hole getting into those second and longs, third and longs, because it plays into what their strength is, and that's getting upfield as pass rushers. But when we were able to keep it balanced and keep the question of running the ball in their mind, it allowed us to move the ball. And we got into situations where we had chances to score. And next thing you know, we unfortunately have a couple of bad plays that get us out of position.
Sorry. And with regards to William Jackson and the penalties, I know you said that you wanted to go take a look at some of those things. What did you see on those calls, and just what were your thoughts on his play in general?
Well, I don't necessarily agree with all the calls. I thought one was a ticky-tacky one. One you would love to have seen them giving us one when Terry got cut off and run into. Because when you get a chance to watch it, you can't tell me that young man was playing the ball until after he ran into Terry, then he played the ball. But, that's a matter of opinion. But, they called him, and so we just can't have him. I thought his play, he was aggressive on a couple of things. He tried to make plays. Probably the only disappointment was the touchdown pass he gave up, and you could see he got out of position and he didn't process it. It was the guy was showing the corner, and he started to react to it and probably got himself out of position, and then he stuck his foot in the ground, went to the post. So he basically ran the corner post on him. It's what we call a Dino route. And that's how he got beat. The guy stuck like he was going out to the corner. And again, as I said, he opened his hips outside, and next thing you know, the receiver stuck his foot in the ground and broke towards the post, and he was beat.
Sam.
Ron, do you feel like now that you've done some shuffling, you guys have the 11 people on the offense that will be able to bring this unit back to where you guys want it to be?
Well, I think we have 11 guys that'll go out there and compete and do everything that they can to be successful. Obviously you wish Chase never got hurt. You wish he was healthy, and you wish Brian Robinson was healthy. And you wish that Jahan didn't have a hamstring that might keep him out for a week or two. So, we have 11 guys that we think will go out there and compete.
And just sorry to clarify, do you expect, it might be too early to tell, but do you expect Brian to be available on Sunday?
We'll see how that goes. I'm optimistic about it. Just in listening to everything I've heard, it's very promising. But again, as I said, the plan is to activate him on not activate him, but start his clock on Wednesday and see how he does. And if he continues to progress, there's a very good chance he'll be able to play on Sunday.
And considering the effectiveness you guys had running the ball yesterday, and you're talking about Carson with clean pockets, could you see yourself leaning even a little bit more on the run game?
Well, I don't want to get into talking about game playing specifically, but I think being, a little bit more in tune with the run would be good for us. I do kind of harken back to last season and in that little stint where when we ran the ball 6 more times than average, we were successful. So I'd like to think that, looking at a formula, that's a pretty damn good formula for us.
Phillips.
After the last 2 games, you've preached patience. You've said, you guys have done some good things and you need to build on it. Is there a part of you that's frustrated though by missing
Yes.
this opportunity to beat 2 division teams?
Without a doubt. Very frustrated, because when you have certain moments that sit there and tell you, man, we're doing some things better. I mean, we played better defense. Third down is showing first and foremost. That was one of our sore spots last year. Shutting the run down has been really good for us the last 2 weeks. So going, coupling that, what we were 25% last week in third downs, 35%, 33% this week. We held the last 2 teams under 100 yards. I'm pretty optimistic about that portion of it. But we did give up a couple of explosives. We had a few too many penalties. Negated some turnovers we've had. So that honestly, I'm upset. That bothers me because I just think that we should be better than we are. But you look at some of the things that were positive, and we'll build on that. And I think on the offensive side, running the ball, doing a better job with protections this past week compared to what it was the week before, is a step in the right direction. Now, I guess to Sam's question, do I think it's good to have the guys that we're going to be able to do what we want to do on offense? I'd like to think we got 11 guys that'll compete and give us everything they have so that we can be successful, and we'll see what happens.
On the offensive line, you've worked with Coach Matsko for a long time. He's overcome injuries. His reputation speaks for itself. Do you have a feel for just what it's been this year that it hasn't quite clicked?
Yeah, you lose your starting center right away, and you lose his backup the very next one. We go through training camp, and you don't have everybody out there. Chase didn't get to start off right away in training camp. We had both guards at one point, guys that we were projecting to be there. Both, had some sort of injury they had to deal with. And the other one didn't come all the way back. So when you deal with that, that's tough because, you're already down 2 primary players as far as your depth, the depth that he's used to having. I mean, he works with these guys, trains these guys. And last year, if you remember, we didn't lose Chase for a while. And then when we lost Chase, we were able to plug in the next guy, Tyler Larson, who, by the way, we're going to activate this week as well. And you finally get him back out there, and then he gets hurt, and then go to your third one, and Wes gets hurt, and you're in your fourth one. Well, the thing that helped us more so was that didn't happen till the middle of the year. That gave us an opportunity to train, gave Coach an opportunity, he and Coach Wharton a chance to train those guys and get them ready to go. And I think that's why last year the transition was a little bit smoother.
Scott.
Hey, Ron. There's already some separation starting in the NFC East. Obviously, you don't want to get that gap too far. Where's the sense of urgency right now? Because you look at the division and where you're at.
It's the same as it's been, Scott. Just like I said last week, there is a sense of urgency. We've got to get the ship righted. We've got to go out and make plays, and we got to go out and, we all have to do better. We do. Players, coaches, our staff, we just got to do better. And we know that. And again, it's just keep pushing, everybody keep pulling, everybody keep pushing in the same direction. We got a chance.
And speaking of doing better, we evaluate the players a lot and talk about the players a lot. How would you evaluate yourself and the coaching staff in terms of what you can do better and how you kind of help turn this around?
Well, we have a good feel for what we got to do, Scott. I'm not going to put that type of stuff out there because I don't need people judging and engaging. Okay. At the end of the day, what it really comes down to is whether or not we're winning or losing.
Darren.
Hey, Ron. Hold on, let me. My question will be is on social media, you have fans that may say certain things. Obviously, you can't believe everything you see on social media, but there are a lot of fans that are upset on where the team is right now. Do you feel that pressure from the fans on how maybe upset they are on where the team is standing?
Well, I tell you right now, a lot of things that I do is not dictated to me by what's out there on social media. I like to believe I'm responsible, and I understand enough to know, though, that the fans are going to be frustrated. I don't doubt that. I really don't. I understand the history of what's gone on here for a while, and we're trying to change that. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be easy. If anybody thought it's going to be easy, they're crazy. You know, I honestly tried to get that across last season, but let's just be realistic about it. I get it. I understand it. And we're going to keep playing hard. That's the only thing we can do, Darren, until we get to the situation and to the point where we really believe that this is where what we need. Everybody's in place. Everybody's healthy. Everything's rolling. You just, it's not going to change. We're going to continue to work hard and continue to try and mature and grow as a football team. This is going to take time. It's a process. Now, how much time do we have? That's up to you guys. Whatever, however, and whenever it's looked at. You know, if we can paint a picture of hope, we can paint a picture of growth and development, paint a picture of doing things the right way, we got a chance. And that's what I'm going to preach with our players. You know, we're going to focus in on what we try to do and what we got to do. Like I said, I understand, I respect their frustrations as fans. I get it. You know, I was in Carolina when we showed up there and they were 2-14, and I heard the frustration. We worked our butts off to try and get it to where it was. You know, I got here. I understand everybody's frustration, especially how proud this organization is. Shit, this organization's got 5 championships. Are you fucking kidding me? I get it. I understand how important it is to win. Okay, but I got to be realistic with what we have and what we're going to do. Now, some of it we can improve on as coaches and get better at, and we have to. There is a sense of urgency that these things have to happen, but they're not going to happen until everything's in place and it's ready to happen. So we got to continue to work and make sure that's happening. As far as the players are concerned, they've got to continue to grow. They got to mature. They got to understand what their responsibility in this as well. So yeah, we get it and understand it. You know, whether it's the average fan on the street or it's the average fan that's on Twitter, I guess, or social media that wants to gripe, that's great. They're entitled to, but just understand, we understand it. We get it. When you're in this league long enough and been doing it for as long as some of us have, you know that with the downs, things get tough. With the ups, things get happy, and everybody's, enjoying life. So we just have to understand what's at stake, continue to work hard, and keep pushing in the same direction. And when it's ready to turn and flip, it will. And we've got to do everything we can in the meantime to try and expedite that.
We got about 5 minutes left, so we'll just open it up here.
Ron, you mentioned Jahan Dotson. I mean, what's your level of concern with what he's dealing with? And
well, he got on when they called the holding, he was trying to come out of his break and try to accelerate, and he got you could see him grab the back of it. So I'm hoping he caught it before it really became something more so. And I don't want to say out of an abundance of caution, but because there was concern, Al sat him the rest of the way. So we're just hoping that that thing will settle down in time and it won't be anything major that lasts longer than a week or two.
Hey, Ron,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go on, Nikki, finish up.
Is there any frustration just with the injuries? You get Brian Robinson back and then you lose Jahan Dotson. I mean, how do you feel that? Oh, to answer your question, Nikki, tremendous frustration. Especially because, again, like I said, when you start seeing some steps go forward and then all of a sudden you go backwards, that's a tough pill to swallow. It is, because you feel good potentially about what could be headed in the right direction, and then something comes up, and like I said, we're on our third center now, and that's, we're 4 weeks into the season, and that's frustrating. And then to lose a player of Jahan's caliber who's done a lot of good things for you, that's even more frustrating.
Hey, Ron, with Carson, once upon a time, he was able to get out of a lot of those pressures that he would face. Do you think he's still learning how to play a different way, or that his game has changed after his injuries? No, I think a little bit of it is still his development in this system. Again, we got to remember, for his entire career, he's been in one system that's different from this system. And so he's still kind of feeling his way through it.
I think as he gets more and more comfortable and can be more and more confident in, I think he will be able to get out of a few more situations. I don't think he's lost that much because of the injury that he had. That was a while ago. I just think again, it's again developing and feeling a little bit more comfortable in what we're trying to do.
With
David
Carson,
Aldridge, David Aldridge, real quick. Sorry, John.
Hey, Ron, when you brought Carson in, you said that because of his salary and because of the commitment, there might be choices you have to make at other positions, or you might have to not be able to do things you want at other positions. Would you say that the guys that you either already had at those positions or the guys that you brought in are playing at the level that you expected or need them to play at?
Well, I think that we've got guys that are playing to their abilities. I mean, guys that I think are still working their way to their abilities. And we've got to get to there, and then we've got to be consistent more so than anything else. And that's our biggest problem, is the inconsistency of our play as a whole. And again, we can all be better. I really believe that we all can. I just think it's a matter of things coming together, coming to fruition. But again, and I know I keep getting reminded there is a sense of urgency, which I don't disagree with.
With Carson, you guys made a serious investment. Of course, every quarterback needs a run game, needs better protection. But for him, is it frustrating to know the capital you spent via the draft and financially that he needs to have these things around him to succeed, or you feel like you maybe have to prop him up in a way that you would have maybe not liked to have to do so much?
Well, I'd like to say this again, Pete, to Nikki's point about the injuries. Again, if you can stay healthy and continue to be able to protect him at a high level, and again, based on again the numbers and analytics, after the second week of the season, he was leading the league, and when he had a clean pocket, his passing percentage. Okay, and so to your point, yeah, I'd love to be able to have somebody out there protecting him, because that'll help prop him up. That'll give him a chance to get the ball to the playmakers that we have. I mean, it kind of works hand in hand. That if you don't have the protection, he doesn't have the protection, his numbers have dropped. He went from the best one based on the analytics to, I think, number, I think it was 11. And then now he's, just beyond halfway. I think he's like at 18 or 19, somewhere in there. He's not where he was originally. But that, again, that's what happens. And so when you can't protect a quarterback, because you look at some of the names that were down at that were down as well, they're pretty impressive names. You go, wow, okay, he didn't play very well that week. Well, that's, you got to take a look and see what else happened and why that happened to these people. But, that's the game. That's just the way it happens. I mean, guys get hurt. The next guy up's got to be able to hold it and maintain it. And that's why he's a pro. And he's got to be able to come in and do the job that's expected.
Ron, with Carson, you talk about getting used to the offense and the scheme and all the system and all that. He did have a reputation for at times liking to hold the ball a little bit longer. So how much, when you're watching him, is there that desire versus, seeing that he's holding the ball because maybe he's not as familiar or as comfortable with things yet?
I think it's a good question, John. First of all, I think it's a little bit of both, because a couple of times when you do see him go through through his progressions, you see almost to the point where by the time he gets to that second or third, he's under duress. And a lot of times you'd love to be able to say, hey, if you haven't thrown it by your first one, you get to your second one, you've got to be ready to deliver it. I think that's something he'll learn and get comfortable with over time, and hopefully it's a short period of time.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you.